Hey, movie lovers, this is Brad.
And this is Tyler.
This podcast was recorded originally as a Patreon exclusive.
That's right. This was recorded before we even knew that Popcorn Dogs would ever be available to the public. So you might hear some older references.
If you want access to episodes early, as well as over 75 bonus episodes of our various shows, check out patreon.com/hairofthedogcast and check out our free trial.
Now, please enjoy this vintage episode of Popcorn Dogs.
Popcorn Dogs, what's up?
That's us, Popcorn.
Yes, we found ourselves with extra time today because Tom got laryngitis. Is that what it was?
Something like that.
He has a throat issue. So this is Popcorn Dogs, your favorite podcast about barbarians and beers and barbarians. We're talking about Barbarian. This was your suggestion, Tyler.
Yes, because for one, Zach Kreger, the director, is from The Whitest Kids You Know.
I was going to ask if you knew that.
Yep, and he's an idol of mine. I was very into The Whitest Kids You Know at a very formative age.
Okay.
So I've really enjoyed Zach and Trevor, even though he's dead now, sadly.
One of the guys from Whitest Kids You Know is dead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he died earlier this year.
Okay, that sucks.
Yeah, but
I've never seen Whitest Kids You Know. I don't know anything about it other than it's some sort of comedy troupe.
They are really good, and they specialized a lot in a lot of dark humor. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with the PCP bit, right?
I've heard of the drug.
Oh, well, you got to watch The Gallon of PCP.
Okay.
There's a gallon of PCP, and that's all you really need to know for the sketch. But they were really funny, and I always found their humor super dark, which I love. And comedy and horror go hand in hand, I think, a lot of times. A lot of comedians have a really dark sense of humor, or they're just inwardly depressed and angry. So,
yeah, I mean, if you can do comedy, you can do drama. I don't think everyone that can do drama can do comedy, but if you know how to, like, comedic timing and you know how that works, you're probably depressed.
It's weird, though. This is the second, like, the sketch comedy to horror pipeline is very rich right now because Jordan Peele branched out and did his shit, and he's on his third movie.
This feels like it's in the vein of, like, all right, I'm redefining myself. Kreger has come out and said this is his directorial debut. It's not.
Yes, it is not.
He directed a movie called College in 2008 starring Drake Bell.
Yep.
And I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's either absolutely horrible or, like, kind of subverting what people expect from raunchy comedy.
I haven't seen it because it wasn't really my jam.
Yeah.
But I've heard about it, and I'm okay with him saying this is his directorial debut.
Yeah. But Barbarian, my first time hearing about it was, like that word of mouth. People are saying, this is a special movie. This is one you definitely want to see. And whenever I hear that, I immediately tune down looking into it. I know it's a movie I want to watch, it's like the way what you did with God of War. I would rather know nothing at all going into it. All I knew was that it's this new Justin Long horror movie, and I was like, okay, he's fine. I remember he was in Jeepers Creepers. I like Justin Long enough as an actor, but he was in Jeepers Creepers, which I don't remember much, but I think it was okay. And he was in Tusk, the Kevin Smith one,
which is weird as fuck.
I kind of like that how weird it is, but
I own it.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's weird, but I still spent money on it.
Yeah. But that's all I really knew going into it. I'll just say my initial thoughts. Love it.
Yes. It was the same way. I had just started, I went on a date with a girl and she wanted to go on another date, and it was around Halloween. So I was like, let's go see a horror movie. She said she liked horror movies. I said,
yeah, I forgot about that.
I said, okay, we should see a horror movie. It's almost Halloween. She was down. I said, you can pick. I think we should go see Smile or Barbarian.
Smile is very bad.
I didn't know that at the time.
I watched it at home on one of my websites I stream on, and fucking bad. It's like bottom of the barrel bad horror movie.
I'm so glad I went and saw Barbarian instead.
Well, at least you would have been able to watch all of Smile, because
we got to. We're gonna spoil the shit out of this, right?
Yeah. First, you'll say you love the movie.
Yes, I do love the movie.
And then this is where we say spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Barbarian, it's on HBO Max. You should definitely go watch this if you haven't.
Yeah, it's only an hour and 40 minutes. You can crush it and then come back and listen to us talk about it.
But all right, spoilers.
We got to the nipple scene where she's breastfeeding, or she's got the bottle with the hair on the tip of the baby bottle, and she's getting
when they're in the cage.
Yep. Getting the girl to drink it, and the body horror was too much for the girl I was going on the date with, and I could tell she was not having a good time. So we left about 30 minutes before the movie ended. Now, this is where it gets really crazy.
Is it 30 minutes? That seems like there's still probably 45. Seems like halfway done.
It's about, well...
Because after they get down there, then they have the whole flashback of who the man was. And
she made it through that.
Okay.
Because then I was like, oh, this is going to get real dicey, because it sounds like it's about to get real rapey. And thankfully, you don't see any of that, which I think was a good move. But she couldn't handle it, and she was not having a good time, so we left. But I didn't know, because I was like you. I turned the volume down on everything once I heard, like, you got to see this movie. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I heard people were walking out of the theater on it. I'm like, I
hate those stories. Those are all bullshit.
Yeah.
They do a million test screenings, and one person walked out because they were probably late for dinner.
Yep.
And they're like, people are leaving the theaters. I'm just saying, I don't trust any of those bullshit stories.
Well, I left the theater.
There you go.
Because she was not having a good time. And so I did not know that Zach Kreger directed it, because I had turned my brain off to it.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, shit, I was really into it. I'm going to have to pay to go see this movie a second time.
Not in the modern era.
All of a sudden it dropped on HBO Max like 2 weeks later. And
yeah,
I watched it one night, and after the gunshot at the end and it just cuts and says written directed by Zach Kreger, I shit my pants. I was like, that's my boy.
Hey, I know that guy.
I
have a non-Barbarian related story I'll tell quick. I went with an ex-girlfriend to 50 Shades of Grey, and she said, if we go to the movie, we can watch, or we can do anything you see in the film. Like, we can do it. I'm like, I'll go see a movie. Like, that's fine. Plus, I got to go for free because I was a manager at that movie theater. And about halfway through the film, she just gets up and walks out. I figure she's going to the bathroom. She doesn't come back. She thought it would just be like a sex thing, and it was all about like emotional abuse. And she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't watch the rest of it. I'm sitting there by myself. There's like 5 other couples, and just me by myself holding a purse when the movie's done. It's like, you could have just told me. But yeah. So at least I watched it. I mean, I would have watched Barbarian by myself gleefully, but I was just that guy by himself watching 50 Shades of Grey in the VIP.
Yeah. Well, I was one of, I against my will had to walk out of the movie, but that's the second time in my entire life I've gone to a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Only the second time I saw people walk out, even though I was one of them once. Funny Games, the remake, shot-for-shot remake, came out when I was in high school. People walked out of that. Like,
that's a fun movie. That's a very fun movie.
I don't think people knew what they were getting into.
Like, I don't know. I don't think people do either.
Yeah, once they implied they killed the kid, people were like, I'm out of here. I'm like, really? That did it for you? You've been in here?
Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Did you not come to get shocked?
You've been here for like an hour and 20 minutes, and that's where... So just finish it.
So Carly and I were watching Barbarian, and it starts off, the lady is staying at an Airbnb. The only thing I will say isn't believable in this is that she didn't know her Airbnb was in Sketchville. How do you not look at reviews? How do you not know the neighborhood you're staying at? She shows up at night, so she can't tell. In the morning, it's clearly like the worst city ever.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I was like, suspension of disbelief. Like, I'll make this jump for you, but it seemed weird. But so a lady, played by Georgina Campbell, she's great in this. Mm-hmm. She's going to stay at this house because she has a job interview. And the first thing we find out is she's going through some weird breakup, some sketchy guy. He won't stop like messaging her and calling her. So she's going through a breakup, and somehow the Airbnb got double booked.
Yep. And
with the clown from It.
Two things. The casting is great because it creates a couple red herrings throughout the film. Like, I didn't know if it was going to be like a poltergeist sort of like haunted Airbnb. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So the sketchy won't leave me alone ex-boyfriend, I was like, all right, maybe we got a stalker situation coming on. So
something's going to, you think it will. It's falling in line with the themes of the film, but it's not part of what happens to her.
Yeah. And then when you get Bill Skarsgård in the mix, and it's like, oh, she's going to agree to stay with this creepy guy, and he's going to be a real weirdo. Then it doesn't go that direction either. And then it keeps pivoting. So it kind of keeps you on your toes the whole time, creating all these like false, like it kind of jukes you out.
It's misleading. We're already told something sketchy is going to happen because this guy's maybe stalking her. And then there's a double booked Airbnb, which maybe he has another app or something, but they're both staying there. And he is the nicest guy, the most accommodating. We'll wash the sheets. If you want to be in the bedroom, you can lock the door. He's so nice.
I didn't even open the wine because you were not in the room, and I didn't want you to think that I was trying to drug you. So if you want some wine, I'm going to open it in front of you. Like, that's how accommodating this guy is.
What a weird scenario. You're all of a sudden with a stranger sleeping in a house sharing a bedroom. Or not a bedroom, but a bathroom at least.
Yeah.
It's weird, and a lot of what this movie's about is women having to decide to trust men in certain scenarios. She doesn't trust Bill Skarsgård because of prior instances with men, so she's afraid of it. But she's in a dire situation. She immediately trusts Justin Long, and that backfires tremendously.
Yeah.
But she's even saying, she's like, I'm here doing an interview for this jazz documentary. You wouldn't know about it. And then Bill Skarsgård's like, oh, yeah, I know. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I said, this is sketchy. The boyfriend set this guy up to be there, and he researched this so he would seem nice.
Yep. I'm like, we're going to get a whole like captive situation going on. Like, this guy's going to be creepy.
And the thing is, it's way better than the boring captive movie. I thought, like, if it was just, oh, Bill Skarsgård's the bad guy, that would suck. They hang out, and she goes to bed. In the middle of the night, the door is open. And it's the mom, right? The mother.
Yeah, because she leaves at night.
It's weird that she didn't mess with them in the house.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the drive over here. Because I watched it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I watched a little YouTube video talking about it. And that was weird. And I've been trying to put it together in my head why she doesn't fuck with them when they're both right there.
Yeah.
But maybe like she wants to lure them down.
To where I don't know. Lure them down. She also chases them way out of the house.
I think that's after though she creates that connection with
them as the child.
Yeah, because she does see what's the character's name?
Tess.
Yeah, she sees Tess as her child.
Yeah. But even then, okay, the door's open and she goes out of the door, and Bill Skarsgård's character, which it doesn't even say in IMDb, he's just Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård is having like nightmares and talking in his sleep. This is another just misdirect. It's just building up spoops, and it's not going anywhere other than some people talking in their sleep. I talk in my sleep, and it scared Carly the first time, but mostly it's just me mumbling, probably because I'm drunk. I don't know.
Just like talking about being the Elden Lord.
She says I say stuff like that, and she was really weirded out at first. But she goes to... How does she wind up in the basement?
How does she wind up in the basement?
Is she... she winds up down there and she gets locked down there. Maybe she saw the basement door was open.
Yeah.
And she walked down to investigate. Also, how many basement doors are just automatically locked behind you? That's a stupid feature.
I've been in multiple houses where that happens.
That's terrible.
Yep.
Also, I can kick a door down. I've kicked doors down. I know where to kick a door. And I think that they just, all right, I guess I'm dying down here too quick.
Also, you got to think that dude was doing his rapey shit down there, so it would make sense for him to have the door locked behind him.
True. That's a good point.
He can't have the ladies that he's terrorizing escape.
You know what's weird is this is in the worst part of the world, but the inside of the house is just super nice.
Yeah, well, the maid comes.
Well, the maid comes after, like, once there's a next booking, and I said, okay, that's a good way to rationalize that. But Tess has her job interview. She comes back. She just goes to look down in the basement. And she gets locked down there. Well, first, the homeless guy.
Yeah.
He just comes charging at her like, little girl.
Don't go in there.
And this comes back to, like, choosing when to trust a stranger, trust a man in a weird situation.
Yep.
Turns out the homeless guy was a major homie.
Yeah, super homie.
Yeah.
And another red herring. Like, I didn't realize how many times it tries to convince you, or it doesn't try to convince you. It kind of flashes a card in front of your face like this is going to be a Conjuring type movie because the door's open and this guy's possessed talking and sleep on the couch. Then you got the scary homeless guy, and then they pivot so well.
Yeah, and getting back to, like, that theme of distrust, the guy who sets up the house and does all this, he just puts on a random work jacket, says he's a plumber or something. He's like, oh, I got to just check something in your bathroom. The lady just lets him right in the house, give a guy a name tag and a jacket, and it's like, all right, come into my home.
Yep.
She gets, man, fucking sketchy, though. Okay, the basement is when I looked over. She's locked down there, and she accidentally discovers the hallway.
Yeah, because there's that rope that comes out of the wall, and she pulls it, and then the wall, like, breaks away. And
Carly, at that point, I looked over, I'm like, are you okay? Because she was so quiet, and she just had, like, the blanket up to her eyes, and she's like... And I think it's the most scared I've ever seen her. And so it's a rape room. There's a rape room there.
Yep.
And there's a little shit bucket and stuff.
And, like, a bloody mattress with no sheets or anything.
A camera
set up. There's, like, blood on the walls.
How modern was the camera? Was it like a VHS camera? I don't remember.
It looked like a camera from, like, maybe the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. It was one of those big boys.
It would have been the guy still using it. Yeah. Frank is his name. She gets out of the house, and she tries to show Bill Skarsgård the basement.
Yeah, and she's freaked out.
And rightfully so. She's like, fuck you, no, we're leaving, let's go. And Bill Skarsgård's like, let me take a look. I said, don't trust this fucker. Don't trust this guy.
Yep.
And he said, I just need you to make sure the door doesn't close. Just wait up here. And then she already found the extra hallway too? Or
nope.
No, not yet.
Yeah, so she's guarding the door as he goes down, and then you go back to, oh shit, he is creepy. He's trying to lure her down to the rape dungeon because he stops responding to her.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, she goes down to investigate the rape room.
He's gone.
And he's just disappeared. And it's like hallway that's like, maybe 15 feet, and then a room on your left, and that's it down there in that little hallway.
I like her mirror light that she sets up. I was like, someone watched Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. She's played Uncharted.
Yeah.
She sets up a light or a mirror to bounce the light from the window down the hallway so that she can see.
Also, do you go down the first time? Like when the opens up and you just have a sketchy hallway hidden behind there. Do you go down there or do you not?
I do not go down there, but she has to because you hear Mr. Skarsgård screaming.
At this point, and she finds another hidden spot, and it's just a stairwell into madness.
Just
into the depths of hell.
Yeah.
And at that point, I said, probably not. You know, maybe not go down there. And you just hear Skarsgård like, oh, help me. And it's like, this fucking asshole.
He's going to get her.
And it's not him.
No. And you have a nice really terrifying, claustrophobic, maze-like adventure through this tiny little catacomb tunnel-looking thing.
Yep.
As she's looking for Skarsgård, and then we find him.
There's like a cage.
Yep.
There's
there's cage.
There's a TV playing like how to breastfeed your child.
Oh, we don't see that yet.
We don't see that yet.
No, we do find Skarsgård, and he looks petrified.
And he says,
"Something bit me."
and we can't go that way because it's back there. So they're going deeper.
Yeah.
And at this point, all you see is like a naked, old, scary, decrepit woman charge at you.
She's like 7 feet tall, too. She's fucking gigantic.
She's a monstrously tall, scary lady.
And I don't think she has nipples.
I mean, maybe they got, who knows?
You inbred enough, you might lose your nipples.
Also, I mean, things can, maybe someone she was breastfeeding bit it off or something. We don't know.
That's true, yeah. But she like emerges from the shadows. Like it's almost akin to that scene in It Follows where the tall guy kind of comes out of the hallway behind the girls.
Haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Then I just ruined a
great
jump scare for you. But it's probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. Seeing this like West Virginia wrong turn inbred looking motherfucker come screaming out of the shadows to grab Mr. Skarsgård by the head and just pop it like a watermelon against the wall.
Yeah. And then all of what he had said to her just had a flashback. I'm like, he was so nice.
Yeah.
I didn't trust him, and he was just the sweetest, nicest guy. But it's a horror film, so you're not trusting for good reasons.
Yeah. And that has got to be, in the last few years, one of the most well-constructed first halves of a movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. It builds suspense all the way through. It's got a little bit of humor peppered in, but not as much as the second act.
Yeah.
But, like, damn, was that fantastic.
I think this first half of the film is a 10 out of 10. The second half, it's like 8.5 out of 10. It's not as good as the first part, but it's still fucking amazing.
Yep. I would agree.
It goes, I mean, we get hard cut. Convertible, beachside, Justin Long.
Sing into the radio.
Sing it to the radio. And I like that as just a shift.
Yep.
We leave her down there. We don't hear about what happened to her. I love that.
I audibly gasped and said, "What the fuck?" I was so confused.
Justin Long is an actor, and he's getting fired from his show for rape allegations. It's weird. I think it's rape. It's weird sex allegations.
Yeah.
Pressuring her into sex. Rape.
Yeah, he's getting Me Too'd.
And
it sounds like.
Rightfully so, we find out.
Yeah. And then it creates a scenario where, like, do you believe him? Are you like, I found myself like, all right, is this like, is he really a bad guy, or is this like, is he being, is someone taking something out of context? I thought there was going to be this whole like discussion into whether or not he's a good guy or not. And you find out very quickly, he's a piece of shit.
He's a very big piece of shit.
And I'm glad that Zach Cregger didn't make us like wonder. Like we get out in front of that right away. Like this guy is a shitbag.
Well, they don't show how bad he is at first, and maybe it was a misunderstood situation. Is like, all right, we don't know, and I will reserve judgment until we know. And he's getting fired. He has to go sell his property back in Detroit or Michigan. Is that where the movie takes place?
Yeah, Detroit.
It does look like Detroit.
Yeah, because he started a pilot for a new television series.
And he got the new actress, like the role, I believe.
Yeah, and he was the guy kind of really pushing for it. Like he really helped the show get made. And they're gonna pick up the show, but they're dropping him. And then he gets dropped from his agency, and then his financial advisor drops him. So he's just like, he's getting dropped like a bad habit all around town. And he's got to make all this money back. So he's like, I got a property in Detroit. It's an Airbnb. I'm just gonna go sell it.
Yes. And he meets up with one of his old buddies back home, Zach Cregger.
Yep.
And the guy's like, just tell me the truth. What happened? He's like, she wanted it.
Yeah.
He was like drunk and saying like, when I want something, I'm going to take it.
Like she said no, but like she didn't really mean no. Like she wanted it.
And you know,
like, she said no.
He goes, you know how I am. Like I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Or something. And it's like, oh, okay, asshole.
Yeah.
But they can have a character. I mean, there's always hope for redemption. And you're thinking maybe this bad guy will get in the situation and somehow like save the actress. Or not the actress, the Tess.
It sets it up for a really good like face turn. Like you got the bad guy who's now put in a situation where he can be the savior.
He's actually the bad guy.
He stays the bad guy.
He's somehow worse than the mother. She's called Mother. Not as the other guy's a bad guy though too. The one that's living in the basement.
Frank.
First we see Justin Long drunkenly call the girl and just beg to talk with her, which the lawyer said don't.
Yeah, but he's going to do it anyway.
He goes to the basement.
Oh,
hilarious though.
Yeah. So
because luckily by this point we know this guy's an asshole, so I don't feel bad about him going to the basement. Plus, even less so because he sees the first rape room and he's like, "What's the fucking square footage in this?" He's just thinking about resell, and he doesn't even look at the bucket or the camera. He's just measuring everything.
After he pulls up Tess's laptop, and he's like, all right, Tess, tries one password, gets it wrong, and just chucks the laptop across the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, pissed that the maid didn't come clean up, but now super psyched because he gets to add all this square footage. And it just further shows how terrible of a person he is, because he does totally disregard the shit bucket in the rape room.
And the fact that someone's stuff is still here. He doesn't even think maybe something happened.
Yeah, doesn't care.
Nope.
And I like when he's like looking at the rape room and he like sits down on the bed for a second and then he like jumps up real quick like, oh, gross. And like brushes himself off.
Yeah. He goes down to the depths of hell, just measuring the stairs. Because it's all square footage he's adding up. He walks right by this cage and he's like,
Yep.
He just keeps measuring.
All the way down the stairs. Longest tape measure in the world, unless he's just really good at doing math.
He's probably just adding it. I don't know. He's the one who finds the room with the one VHS tape playing How to Breastfeed Your Children or something.
Pretty much on repeat.
Yeah, that's a scary room.
Yeah.
It's Mother's bedroom.
It's also the backdrop for the cutout text that says Barbarian at the beginning of the film. When the title card flashes up.
Okay.
It is the floor. So I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking great.
What
happens to Justin Long down here?
Well, he finds Mother, and he gets terrorized pretty good, chased around and whatnot, and then eventually locked in the cage with Tess. The best part about the second half...
A little floor cage, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough one to get out of.
Well, he's running from her, and he falls into it.
Yeah.
And then Tess scared the shit out of me, because she, like, emerges from the shadow again.
Yeah.
Like, leans in and is like, shut the fuck up. She doesn't like it when you yell.
Yeah. And it's one of those situations where, all right, what's happened these past few weeks? It's great that you're not told. And you just have to imagine Tess is down there. I can imagine everything that happened, but it's great that they don't show it because it leaves a little bit to the imagination. A sketchy bottle of milk gets lowered into the cage.
And it's got this goopy hair on it, and it's got to be one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And Tess is just like, I'm going to survive. And starts drinking the bottle.
Yeah.
Justin Long refuses and pisses off Mom.
He doesn't know how... He doesn't respect the situation he's in.
Yeah.
Does he get yanked out?
Yep. And then she drags him to the breastfeeding room because she's like, you gonna learn today.
Oh, God.
Which, leaving the cage open for Tess to make her escape.
We get a good look at the mom at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And I think maybe this is where I don't absolutely love the second half as much as the first half, because once you start explaining something, the mystery gets taken away a little bit. One thing I really like about The Shining as a film is you still don't know what fucking happened at the end. They keep the mystery open. You don't know why things happen the way they are. But when you start explaining who Mother is, I don't know, it takes some of the mystery away a little bit. But Justin Long is sucking on that titty.
Oh, yeah. And then this is the moment where we had to leave.
Yeah.
Because, we did miss, before this happens, we do a nice little 1980s flashback. of Frank, this guy
Yeah.
who lives in the house. So we see the house in the neighborhood, but instead of it being run down Detroit, it's like in the 80s and like it's a nice suburban, like middle class neighborhood.
Yep.
And there's a for sale sign next door, and the neighbor comes out like, "Hey, Frank.
Oh, I'm a regular neighbor type. How you doing?
How you doing? I just wanted to let you know before you heard about it. We're moving. We're selling the house." I'm like, "No shit, Sherlock. You got a fucking for sale sign in the front yard."
It's a great transition though. Seeing how the neighborhood used to look. That's a really powerful just sequence of shots. And they even like changed the like the lenses. It gets to be like a very wide angle lens for this part. And it's nice that they just kind of broke up like even filming styles for different segments. But Frank is just a monster.
Yep.
He's the kind of guy that kidnaps and rapes and keeps people down there. We see his tape collection with just tons of names later.
Yep.
He's 2 degrees from Dennis Reynolds.
These are my jewels.
I need them. I like binding. I like to be bound.
Oh yeah. So he stalks a lady, and then that's what we were saying. Finds out where she lives. It poses as a plumber. Gets in.
Carlos.
Carlos.
Frank's name. If I saw Frank, I'd be like, "You're not Carlos."
Yeah.
I would.
What did you do with him?
Yeah.
Where is Carlos?
Good point.
But he gets access to this woman's house. Says, "I just gotta check your bathroom," and like all creepy like. Also, you know the actor that plays Frank. You've seen him in other movies, right?
His name is Richard Brake, which I think is funny because you could call him Dick Brake.
First of all, I've always thought this. How do you cast like somebody who's morbidly obese or cast a serial rapist and murderer? Does the actor, like, you're getting paid to work, but at the same time, like, you fit a very unfortunate mold to fit into that role so well?
Well, it's acting. It's mostly you look like you could be that guy.
Because I want to say he's played another creep before.
It's just like he's in 3 from Hell.
The Rob Zombie film?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. He's in the Munsters, the new Munsters film. He's in Tremors, Shrieker Island, classic film. I don't know. I've never seen it. Let's see. He's in 2005's Doom. He's in Mandy.
Oh,
that's where I recognize him from as Doom. Yeah. But he was in the Halloween Rob Zombie remakes.
He's done a lot of films with Rob Zombie. Eh?
Yeah. He's in Batman Begins. I recognize him from Batman Begins, too. He's one of the criminals.
Yeah.
But, okay. Dick Brake. He just goes in and they show him go to the bathroom and just leave a window unlocked.
Yeah. And
he kind of just scopes the house out and sets it up for later, which is
terrifying.
Which is smart filmmaking. It's great that they don't have to show anything else other than who this guy is and how he operates, and we can just fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It's not gratuitous.
Yeah, because a lesser director would have shown the tape, and we'll get to it in a second, but they chose not to, and I liked that.
Yeah.
Sometimes leaving more to the imagination is much more frightening than showing something.
And we could put all of the pieces together. This man somehow dug out an entire rape dungeon. I think he probably did it himself, or he paid somebody else and he killed that person in there. But
that was Carlos, probably.
Maybe it was Carlos.
Yeah. Poor Carlos.
But and then we can put together, all right, this woman is either a child from that, and then you do the math in your head. It must be a child from one of these victims, because he talks about he's going to have a baby soon.
Yeah.
This baby will be the mother. Probably. Not necessarily, but... And then you just realize, okay, so the monster is a horrible baby born of a bad situation that is not locked, but like kept underground and not given love or affection or taught anything. So you kind of can grasp the situation of who the monster is.
Yep.
Eliciting a small bit of sympathy.
Minute.
You understand she has a lot of problems mentally, and she wants to like have a mother or be a mother. She probably misses her mom. She wants to have a relationship that she's never understood. Still a monster. Still a monster, but like you can kind of, there's a reason at the end she gets mercy killed and not curb stomped.
And it's at this point that you realize that the barbarian in this story is not her.
No.
That fucking creep Frank is obviously pure evil incarnate.
Yes.
And that's what we are referencing in the title. At least that's the way I interpreted it.
Tess gets out of the house.
Yeah.
She immediately talks to the homeless guy and he says, come to the water tower, it's safe. And she says, no, I need to get him out of the basement. I need to help him. She finds police officers, laugh her off. They go there and they don't take the situation seriously at all. Not a good look for the police.
No, and I think it was, I mean, it might have been like a little bit of like police don't do their job well enough popped into the film because as we know in America, that is always a point of contention. But I also think it's kind of goes hand in hand with Detroit because if you look back to the flashback and you see the suburban area, Detroit used to be like that and it collapsed. It is not a very nice city anymore. And I think that is a really accurate portrayal of what happened to the city watching it decay like that. And seeing the police officers deal with her like a crackhead makes it makes more sense to do it that way rather than the narrative that police aren't good at their jobs, which I'm glad because I feel like that's like kind of a tired trope unless you're going to really focus on it. To shoehorn it in would be kind of unnecessary, but having her look like a crackhead and freaking out like she's tweaking, talking about some gigantic lady that held her captive for weeks and
there's a guy trapped in the basement
and
she doesn't have the keys to the house.
Yep. So the police are like, yeah, no. And then they get a shots fired call and the guy just kind of like turns around. The cop's like, another day in Detroit. I gotta go deal with gunshots.
Yep.
So then they leave and the homeless guy, this is where we find out that she comes out at night because he mentions that. Like, you need to get gone because she's going to come out tonight.
Yeah. Tess goes full superhero, goes into the basement by herself.
Yep. And while she's like, she goes, talks to the cops, they ditch her. She breaks in through the window. But in the meantime, Justin Long has his phone. And that's where he discovers Frank in the basement.
Yeah, he goes way down there. And he would have been trapped, but
he sees a bell with a rope leading. And he can go left away from the bell or he can follow the rope. And he decides to follow the rope. And he gets to the door and the rope and like there's like some electrical wire going in through this door. All of a sudden you see Mother come out of the shadows again, but this time she's not running. And it's terrifying because you realize she's scared of Frank. She won't come near the door. She comes just into visibility, like enough so you can see that she's there, and then backs away. It's like when you're playing a video game and you get out of the room the enemy is tied to, so the enemy comes up to the doorway and just backs away because it can't go out of that room. The AI doesn't allow it. It looks like that a little bit. There's this old Frank guy on the bed. Very old, very dying, very out of it. Yep.
And Justin Long's like, I'm going to get you out of here, man. I'm going to save you.
Immediately trusts him.
Yep. Old white man. He's trustworthy.
Yeah.
He's living in a rape dungeon. But he finds one of the tapes and plays the tape. And that's when he realizes this guy's a bad guy.
Yep. Because there's a bunch of tapes. And I just rewatched the end of this film before we podcasted because I needed a refresher because it's been a minute. I noticed some of the names in the tapes are disgusting. Like,
it's just descriptions.
Yeah, there's one that says puker. There's one that says like Meredith and then in parentheses Screamer. And it's like some really nasty shit written on the tapes.
Yep.
And the one in the VHS, because he's got one of those old school VHS boob tubes, like the all-in-one unit.
Yeah.
It just says like Redhead gas station or gas station Redhead or something like that.
Yeah.
And he pops it in. We don't see, but you can imagine.
You don't need to.
Yep.
You don't need to see it.
And this is after he tells Frank, like, I'm getting the fucking police in here. We're getting you out of here. Like, this place is going to be crawling with cops soon.
Frank knows he's about to go to jail.
So he produces a handgun, shoots himself in the head.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
You want to see that guy
Get ripped to
get
pieces.
ripped apart by mothers, what you want.
Yeah.
So Tess and Justin Long then meet up, and
Yeah, because Justin Long then gets the handgun
he's ready to go.
and he's ready to go. And he's like pushing his way through the maze downstairs trying to get out. Tess has broken in. She set up a chair to keep the basement door open, and she went back down with a flashlight, but it dies. And right outside
Which is not what you want to happen.
no, but she's like, she goes full badass because she just like, she's walking like she don't even care.
She goes barbarian.
Yep. And then you see a light in the distance, and you know it's Justin Long, and you know that this little sack
my
of shit
God.
is gonna shoot her.
I forgot. He shoots her.
He shoots her in the abdomen, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought she was gonna die, and then I thought he was gonna get ripped to pieces, and I was like, this is gonna be a really sad ending for me.
No. If anything, she gets shot by him and he gets away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he ends up helping her out of the house, and they're like, we got to get the. Oh, shit, we missed. She runs Mother into the house with her fucking car.
This is afterwards.
Yeah, because.
This is after they get out.
Yeah, well, when they come out, she's like, she's gone. She's gone. Because she had ran the car into the house and pinned Mother, and then when they come out of the house, Mother's not there anymore. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Then she runs into Justin Long afterwards.
yeah. And then they come out. She's like, do you have a car? And he's like, yeah, but my keys are in the tunnel. I'm not fucking going back in there. So then they
Go to the water tower.
go to the water tower.
I love the homeless guy. He's like, oh, she won't ever come here. She can't come here. I was like, why? And then she hulks right through the wall.
She like Kool-Aid Man's in through the side.
Yeah.
Rips his arm off, rips the homeless man's arm off, and beats him to death with it.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
And this is after we have the heel, Justin Long, turn face. And he's like, I hurt somebody. I'm responsible for it. I got to fix it. And you see this brief moment where it's like, is he really going to like turn his shit around and like try and save the day? Maybe he sacrifices himself to save Tess.
He will play the hero as long as it's convenient for him to be the hero. As soon as it's better for him to like a slight bit like better opportunity for him, he will take Tess. First, he drops the gun.
Well, when Mother smashes in through the water tower, he just takes off and leaves Tess.
Yeah.
He's running. He's gone before Tess can even get up.
Yeah.
Like, once a coward, always a coward.
And he has a gun still, right?
Yeah, but his dumbass forgets that it's in his waistband because I'm like, fucking shoot her.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
This is your chance.
And they end up running to the top of the water tower, and then Tess is like falling on the stairs. She's shot. She's bleeding. She's like, wait for me. And then he's just yelling, hurry up, as he runs to the top of the tower.
Yep.
And Tess gets to the top of the tower and goes, your gun. And he's like, oh shit. And he pulls it out of his waistband and fumbles it over the edge.
What an idiot.
I laughed so hard when he did that. I was like, you fucking buffoon.
If this guy couldn't be any lamer. But he takes Tess and throws her off the roof.
Yep.
Because he thinks Mother will run after her and it'll be a chance for him to escape.
Yeah, he's like, come get your baby. Sends her over the edge.
And that blew my mind. I knew he was a piece of shit, but the fact that he was that big of a piece of shit,
Yep,
I was like, no fucking way.
Mother dives off like
After her.
swanton bomb after Tess and ends up underneath her and breaks Tess's fall.
I don't know if that's the case. I'm thinking that she crawled over and put Tess and like held her afterwards. I don't know if she would have gotten. That's not a big enough fall to like Austin Powers under the falling lady.
That's what I thought happened.
I imagine that they both just hit the ground and then Mother like brought her over and cradled her. I don't know. Regardless, Justin Long goes down there. Tess is still alive.
Remarkably.
I
mean, this is where the movie starts to like logically it doesn't make sense because she should probably be severely injured and or dead. She's been shot and tossed off a water tower.
Which, I mean, you can survive.
You can,
Maybe
yeah.
she landed on a good bush or something.
Aim for the bushes.
Yeah, aim for the bushes.
So Justin Long comes down and sees that she's still alive. He's relieved at first.
He's like, "Oh, you were falling and
I wasn't gonna. You started slipping before I threw you, and like immediately starts crafting the narrative, probably the same way he tried to get out of trouble with the girl that he took advantage of.
If when a shithead gets backed into a corner, they can make any rationalization that they're spinning the narrative. He's already spinning the narrative if she survives about what happened.
Yep.
And does Mother slither away?
No, he helps Tess up.
Because he thinks Mother's dead.
Yep, and Mother's not dead. Mother jumps up, grabs him by the throat, lifts him in the air, and you're like, yeah, fuck you, Justin Long. She pokes his eyes out with her long-ass nasty fingernails, and then grabs his head and just rips it open. Like, just pops his skull like a balloon and just rips his head in two.
Yep.
And then she has a nice sweet moment with Tess, where she does, like, in the breastfeeding video, while the baby's breastfeeding, the mother is like kissing her fingers and then touching the baby's head.
Yeah.
And then you have Mother do that to Tess, and then Tess grabs the gun and Mercy kills Mother.
Mother saves Tess.
Yep.
In such a shocking twist after keeping her in a cage for weeks. And yeah, you can see Tess just like go through it in her head too. She's like, thank you. You need to die. Like, you can't live with everything that's happened in your existence. I mean, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
There's no hope. Tess, Mercy, and plus Tess doesn't know if she's going to get taken back down there by Mother or something. So Tess Mercy kills her. I think Mother kind of knows what's happening too.
Yeah, because she's saying, it sounds like she's saying back or baby.
I think it's like Baba, baby or something like that.
Yeah, and Tess is like, I can't go back. And then there's that moment of realization between the two.
Yeah.
And then I was really shocked at how it ended, with Mother actually saving Tess.
Yeah.
And then just kind of accepting her fate. I mean, even though she's a monster, you got to think, like, she's probably okay with being dead. Her existence has to be just absolutely miserable, and she's got to feel that.
I don't even know what she eats down there. How does he get stuff down there? Does he go up to get stuff? He must.
He's got the bell system, so I'm assuming that he rings the bell, and like maybe she breastfeeds him. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, if she's still producing milk, that means she's always never stopped.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's fucked.
Yeah. And Tess shoots Mother, credits.
Yeah. Soon as the gunshot goes off, then I shit my pants, because it said written and directed by Zach Kreger. And I was like, again, that's my boy.
And that was the most shocking part of the film for you.
It was. I literally, like, my head exploded, much like Justin Long's.
I thought the movie was fantastic. We talked about a lot of the themes about just trust and distrust and being put into situations, and you have to make decisions. You want to believe Tess is acting pretty there's not a lot of things she does that I strongly disagree with, which is a rare thing in a horror film. She's making like a lot of smart choices, and almost all of them wind up backfiring.
Yeah. It was a horror movie that knew. It was very self-aware. It didn't fall into the normal tropes of like the killer is chasing you, so you run upstairs to the top bedroom of the house sort of thing. Also, it is surprisingly funny. Like, I found myself laughing and absolutely terrified, like kind of switching between the two a lot, especially once Justin Long's character gets introduced.
Yeah, it's a diffusing of tension a little bit too. If you're just like wound that tight the whole time. In the movie Midsummer, if you haven't watched that, just skip a minute forward. But there's the scene where the boyfriend is all of a sudden taking the girl's virginity with like 10 other women like moaning with it.
Yeah.
And I was in a movie theater and we were all just like freaking out. And then somebody giggled and everyone just started laughing. I'm like, thank God. And then it was back into it. I think it handles it well though. It's comedy that it's rooted in the characters and the story. It's not like I like 2 out of the 3 newest Halloween films, but it just out of nowhere has Danny McBride jokes, which are funny, But having two cops talk about banh mi sandwiches, it just ruins the tone of the Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. And this one, I think it works.
A movie that this reminds me of, and I hope this is a trend or a path that horror movies are going to continue to go, is the movie X.
Have you seen Pearl?
Not yet.
Oh, you should see Pearl.
I want to. X had a good dose of horror and comedy. It cut the tension. And with a movie like Barbarian that is very graphic, super adult subject matter all the way through, it reminded me of like the Hills Have Eyes remake from like 2004.
I love that remake.
That movie, though, is really fucking tough to watch because once it starts, it does not stop.
Once the dad is hooked, like is burning and hanging, and then they all attack, and like the music gets super intense out of nowhere. That movie makes me anxious. Yeah,
that movie,
which I don't say that about a lot of those kinds of movies. That one works.
But if that's what you're going for, like that's awesome. If Barbarian had structured itself that way to where like once it got going, it didn't stop, I don't think it would be as good.
I agree.
As it is with the huge part 2 break with Justin Long's character getting introduced and having the little bits of humor kind of thrown in there to keep you, a little bit at ease so that you can sit back and watch this absolutely bonkers movie. I'm
trying to think about movies that I saw this year in theaters, and like I just saw in general new movies. I'm wondering if this is my favorite film of the year. What else came out this year? Best movies 2022. I'm curious.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, well, X is up there.
Was X this year?
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the year, I believe.
I prefer X to this one.
That's tough. That's like a 9.5 versus a 9.
Black Adam.
I did just see Bones and All a couple days ago.
I want to see Nope. I haven't seen Nope. I don't even know about Bones and All.
Bones and All was all right. It was like a 7.
Okay.
It was, when it's good, it's good. When it's slow, it's bad. But it's not terrible.
It might be X is my favorite film this year.
X and Barbarian.
Where the Crawdads Sing was pretty good. It was not the murder mystery horror I thought it was going to be.
My mom wants me to watch that really bad.
It's a romantic film about a confused young woman. And Carly and I loved it, but it was not what I thought it was going to be.
The Batman with Robert Pattinson, which I haven't watched yet.
It's not as good as X. It's fine. I saw The Terrifier 2.
How was it? I saw like a compilation video of some of the murders in it.
It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal. It wasn't good. It was shocking. And it was pushing the boundaries of what... It was the most over-the-top slasher killings you'll ever see, just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny. Like, slasher movies to me aren't necessarily scary. They're usually just funny.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that one... Yeah, I don't know. But I guess my favorite movie of the year would be X, from what I've looked at so far anyways. But
yeah, X or Barbarian. I'd have to go back and rewatch X before.
And Jackass Forever.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It was great. I saw that in theaters too.
It's so funny when the topic comes up on construction sites or something. Everyone's like, I couldn't finish it. There's so much like wieners. I'm like, what did you think you were going to watch? It is like Wieners the film.
Yeah, their bodies are getting older. They can't jump off of shit and hurt themselves like they used to. They have to rely on dick jokes.
So, okay, movies that I haven't seen that could potentially be my favorite movies of the year. Licorice Pizza. I'm a big P.T. Anderson, but I hear it's weird.
Saw it in theaters and I disliked it a lot.
The Northman. Haven't seen.
That's going to be a contender for me for sure.
Would probably like it quite a bit. And nothing else is jumping out at me, but we're going to rank it with the other movies we've ranked. So it's only the first two phases of MCU so far. So we're going to open this up with Barbarian or Ant-Man?
Barbarian.
Barbarian or Captain America 2?
Barbarian.
Barbarian.
Yeah.
Barbarian or Avengers 1?
Barbarian.
Okay.
It's some contemplation.
I will take the Avengers.
Damn.
So that means we have to rock, paper, scissors for it.
What do we have right above the Avengers?
One other movie's above it, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Oh, shit.
You wouldn't put it above that, would you? Maybe?
Maybe.
Guardians of the Galaxy is just too good of a movie. It's funny, it's heartfelt, the action's there.
I'd put them between the two. I'd put it between Avengers and...
You think it's better than Avengers?
I think so.
Okay, so this is where we'll take the rock, paper, scissors. We'll go 1, 2, 3, shoot, and on shoot is when we put them out, okay?
All right.
We'll actually say it. We don't even have to do it. 1, 2, 3, paper.
Oh, you were going to say...
Yeah. So we'll go again.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
Rock.
paper.
Damn.
So Barbarian is number 3 on our list of MCU films and Barbarian. There will be other ones on there eventually. And I think we put The Boys over Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that... Just on a quick tangent, that does bother me because I didn't expect to like The Boys so much, and I expected to love Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But since the first season, it's been a dip in quality story-wise for me every single season.
With highlights. There's always a good highlight, couple
yeah.
highlights in Stranger Things. There's also a lot of downtime. The Boys is consistent.
Yeah.
I still think I like the tone and nature of Stranger Things more. But
Yeah. I want to like Stranger Things more than I like The Boys, but
yeah.
it just kind of can't get out of its own way.
I got the new vinyl soundtrack for the latest season, and it's not like original music. It's all just like the 80s music from the movie.
Like something
Or the
Star-Lord would listen to.
It's fucking awesome. It's a great
yeah.
soundtrack. But yeah. So watch Barbarian if you haven't. If you listened this far, you should have watched it before you listened.
Yeah, that was a big... You fucked that up real good. You should also check out The Whitest Kids You Know. If you like Zach Krager, you'll like him a lot more after watching like Abe Lincoln or The Gallon of PCT or Happier with Your Mouth Open.
I think you should go watch that movie College, and then you can do the Zach Krager movie comparison.
He did a movie called Miss March.
Okay.
That's about a guy who's dating a girl. He plays the main character. He's dating a girl. Then he gets into an accident and goes into a coma. And Trevor Moore, another Whitest Kids You Know alumni, stays by his side, waits for him to wake up. And when he wakes up, he informs him that his ex-girlfriend from high school is Miss March in Playboy. So then it's them traveling to the Playboy mansion so that he can reconnect with his now Playboy model ex-girlfriend.
It sounds like a classic, beautiful film.
It is tear-jerking. There's a character named
Wiener
Horse
jerking.
Dick. There's a character named HorseDick.mpeg.
Well, I can appreciate that, I guess.
Played by Daryl Philbin from The Office.
I'm in. And yeah, that's all that I have to say today.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. You should check it out.
Thanks for listening to Popcorn Dogs. We appreciate your support. Y'all are great. And don't go into any sketchy basements.
Unless the square footage is real good.
If you have to sell a place and you find an extra rape room, just check the square footage and then leave immediately.
Check the square footage. Call the police.
Call the police.
We'll see you next time, friends.